4. Sitting on the bench. Writing's really hard. We need another snack. And that is just a fact. Oh.
Guests on the bench. Hi, this is Shauna.
And this is Trisha.
And this is Two Girls on a Bench.
The podcast.
With a special friend joining us. Introduce yourself, special friend.
This special friend is Drew.
Sounds like a romper room episode.
We're like, hello, Drew.
I see Drew and you.
I have a great quote. If only I could pull it up right now. We've been having so many technical difficulties that
there's a ghost in our
like 10
garage
glasses
band.
Of wine.
Ghost in the machine
right now. Tell us about yourself, Drew. While I find my, tell us about your podcast.
All right. Well, I am 1/3 of a podcast called The Real Feels Podcast, where my good friends Jack and Nathan and I get together every other Wednesday. And we discuss movies of a different genre every single time and talk about all the good parts, the bad parts, and basically laugh at every inappropriate moment that we can.
Yeah, we're basically like 12-year-old boys on the inside, I think.
I think we're like a good fit with you. So this is a quote that I'm going to read, and you can all guess who it is at the end, and then I'll just tell you. Okay. So it starts like this. It sounds like me talking, but it's not. It's another person, and it's a man. So, okay. There you are. In your room with the shade down and the door shut and the plug pulled out of the base of the telephone. You've blown up your TV and committed yourself to 1,000 words a day, come hell or high water. Now comes the big question. What are you going to write about? And the equally big answer, anything that you damn well want. Anything at all, as long as you tell the truth. Stephen King. Dun, dun, dun.
Didn't even let us guess.
The master of it all.
Except you told us earlier, so we knew.
No, but that was like when we did fake recording.
We can't pretend, Shauna, to
Okay,
not know.
whatever. Everybody knows what's going on. Okay, so we've had wine because it took us 20 hours to get this recording going.
Shauna's been drinking it while I've been fixing it, though.
I know. I'm like a glass ahead of you. It's bad.
Clearly
news.
about to
And it
just
looks like
talk
Drew's
about
drinking
something
some
else.
wine, too.
What do you do?
I also have some wine.
Nice.
I thought I saw you.
Delicious
Yeah. Okay.
wine.
With ice in it.
Ooh, it's
I
nice and
like my
cold.
wine chilled.
I chilled mine in the fridge.
But it's like
I
hot.
sound like an asshole right
It's
now.
hot now.
It's nice and warm. A nice warm red. Well, I got wine called Gato Negro because the
It's
black
a
cat.
black cat.
Get it?
Because
Scary.
it's a scary time of
It's one of those
year.
risky wines with a screw cap you get at the liquor store, and you're like, "Is this gonna suck?" But it's okay.
It's fine.
It's not bad.
It's a table wine. It's fine.
Works. Nice
For
Chianti.
any night of the week. So you've brought us to some very special topic, Drew.
Yes.
Please.
So,
Bring the topic.
scary stories that we grew up with and, you know, kind of learned as kids, learned to be afraid, maybe learned to understand if they were real or not, but still hid under the covers, you know, at night. And this also kind of coincides with the recent release of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
Did you see the movie? Because I didn't
did.
see it.
I did see the movie.
My kid saw it, and he told me it wasn't very scary,
Did you like it?
which annoyed me.
I did.
But
I did enjoy
anyway.
it. Yeah, it wasn't really that scary. It was enjoyable. There were some really good jump scares. The soundtrack played really well into the frights. It's commendable, and it is really kind of impressive in certain ways with Guillermo del Toro's attention to the creature features, the effects of
He's so
definitely
good. Yeah.
bringing a lot of those terrifying bits of artwork that were put into the actual stories to life. So,
Yep.
yeah, I mean, I think it was done well. I wish it was done a bit more a la Creep Show kind of anthology style.
Oh,
But really
cool.
what it does,
Yeah.
it follows one singular story. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of... I think that's kind of like a mishap in probably the actual writing of the overall, script. But that's just my take.
Look, Guillermo, we have some notes. I'm just kidding. I have not seen the movie, but so we all decided to watch the documentary,
Yes.
Yes.
which was so interesting to me because so we're going to talk about the documentary Scary Stories
To Tell in the Dark.
Is that what it's called? Scary Stories Tell in
Yeah.
the Dark, the documentary?
Yeah.
About the books that I do not remember reading as a kid. But I read Scary Stories as a kid, but I didn't read these. But I
Right.
recognized when they showed the cover.
Oh,
Yeah.
I recognized that.
Yeah, the cover is
But
incredibly iconic.
Yeah.
But for some reason I hadn't read them, and I like Scary Stories, so I'm not sure why I missed it. But anyway, I loved the documentary. It was so interesting.
Yeah, it was
to just
really
hear the
good.
story.
I mean, it's interesting enough to where these books being put into schools and being called into question, where people started I mean, I don't want to say pointing a holier than thou finger at the books, but I mean, they were calling things like demonic, certain worshiping, and bringing to the attention of children, okay, as it were, such adult content where it's it's so inappropriate. We need to protect our children. These things need to be brought out, and this lasted for 2 decades.
Decades, yeah.
I mean, the books came out in 1981, and the last one was published in 1991. You had 3 separate books spanning about 25 to 29 stories each one, and I mean, these are things that literally were terrifying. The stories themselves are not necessarily as scary. They can give good creep factor, but it's
The illustrations,
right. It's the
though.
artwork.
The
that sticks with
illustrations
you.
are amazing. Yeah.
Is it
but I
Evan
also
Gamo? Evan Gamo is an illustrator, and the artist who he's inspired this whole I love that in the documentary where it shows all the artists who were inspired by the illustrations to create
that was so
artwork.
cool.
What do you call it? Sculpture and tangible artwork out of these drawings, trying to
a
figure
band.
out. Yeah, it's amazing.
It was really cool. I mean, I think for me, I don't know. Whenever I hear that something's censored, I automatically want to run towards it. I think because I got and I loved that in this documentary, the librarian was so strong.
Yeah.
And she was
Right.
I'm not taking this book out. And then the principal or whatever came to her and was well, we're having some trouble. Take it out. And she was no, because we don't have any. And he's you have all these other books. She's we don't have this book. And it was wow, she really stood up for that.
And she was have you read it? And he was no, but a parent complained about it. And then that whole story about how the parent that complained comes to school with her kids dressed up scary.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and then
It's
so amazing.
It's a bit of the yeah, exactly. It's a bit of the hypocritical notion to, try and claim something to be worse off than it actually is. I mean, and it's the biggest thing to ask, of the principal to say, have you read it? Or are you just going by word of ear? I mean, to have a personal anecdote for myself, I went and saw Ray Bradbury when he came to my hometown.
I love him.
To speak.
He came to my hometown too. Okay, sorry, keep going.
But he was
Very
there
excited.
speaking, and previously in the week they had another kind of town meeting where people could come to the one of the local high schools, and they were discussing Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye. And I mean, this is a book where, again, certain issues
Good
get
book.
called into question, which are pretty adult or rather serious. And this woman behind me was just running her mouth about how terrible it was, and they shouldn't allow these books in schools, and who would they think, and blah 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 blah. I just turned around and I'm I'm sorry, ma'am, have you read the book? And she's no, of course not. And I'm okay, then you have no position to open your mouth. You have no
At least
standing.
read the fucking book before you
Well,
make
also
a judgment
that
call.
book, I know there's some sketchy characters in that book that are describing things that are super inappropriate, but it's about having the viewpoint of that like inappropriate person. You're like, this person's a gross sicko, like talking about like kids or whatever. And you're like, so that's okay because we're like learning from their, I don't know. I'm a whacked out liberal about that. It makes me crazy. It makes me crazy when people censor books. Like I get super like, and sketched out.
I think the thing about the Scary Story book that I didn't realize is that all of the stories were based on history and folklore.
Oh yeah.
So it's like it's almost like if you talk about like the Bible and the Great Flood to talk about history, and there's like a flood story from China and a flood story from India and a flood story from the Christians or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it's just those stories.
Talk about your scary
are everywhere.
stories.
I know, scary stories from the Bible. Sorry. No offense. But so it's like, I didn't realize that about the stories. And when I heard that, I was like, even more of a reason to keep them into the school.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, because he documented all the historical stuff. And they even said that.
It's
all
like,
these scholars are like, look, he did all this research and R.L. Stein.
footnote.
I love the scene with R.L. Stein where he's like, he researched everything. I never did any research.
Nothing. Yeah. The Goosebumps guy. Yeah. I want to have a beer with him. Like,
Don't
he's
I know.
like, he looks awesome. Like my daughter's
so
not ready to read
absolutely
them yet.
loving Goosebumps. I still have my original full complete set of the original like 62 books, and I joined the R.L. Stein fan club as a kid, and I desperately tried actually at one point a couple years ago for my school. I tried to get R.L. Stein to come in as a guest speaker, but it's actually rather expensive.
So booked. I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure he charges. Well, and you know what's interesting is that I got into, so I missed Goosebumps because I'm a little older than you.
Me too. But I'm waiting for my daughter to get into it. She's 9 now. She's almost ready. She's a little too scared still. But
I was definitely into like Ray Bradbury also came to my hometown. Totally into him.
How old were you when you saw
I was like
him?
11 or 12.
Yeah.
And I was like way excited. I mean, I can go on about Ray Bradbury. We won't do it right now. But love him. Love everything about him. He's just such an amazing person. But I think I had gotten into it because my kids were watching the Goosebumps series on like, I don't know, TV of some sort. I don't know where it came from.
It was on Fox.
But they were watching, the rerun because they're like younger. So they were watching it. And so me and my husband.
Scary things from like 7 and 9 years old. Like they've always
loved scary stuff.
They've never been afraid of scary things.
No, they like it.
They were zombies like when you first adopted them at 7 and 9 or whatever.
They were into scary stuff. I mean,
anyways,
yeah.
Where my daughter's like going to be a snow tiger. She hates scary things. Whatever.
She's not. I know. You're like, I might show her Stranger Things. I'm like, don't show her that yet.
She's like, you'll traumatize your daughter.
But like the Goosebumps, like we watched all the shows, and I was like, this is like junior Twilight Zone. Honestly, like that's what I felt like when I watched it. I was like, this is like, and I think R.L. Stein says in the documentary that we watched, he said he told Stephen King, I'm like, my books are a training bra to get to your books or something
or no,
like
he,
that.
It was the author of Scary Stories said that like my books were training bras for R.L. Stein's Goosebumps, and he just responded to him, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But I mean,
which is so cool.
It's so
I love that.
Because with these books, they were stepping stones for things to come out in the early to like late 90s that allowed scary things to be in the forefront and a little bit more accepting because they were being put out not only by children's programming, or at least what could be guised as like older, maybe early preteen programming, where you had the Goosebumps TV show on Fox, you had the Goosebumps books coming out, you had Are You Afraid of the Dark coming out on Nickelodeon. So you had scary things.
I missed that.
That were there.
Old.
Oh, I loved Are You Afraid of the Dark growing up. It was very pivotal to like my love of like early horror, where probably around the age of like 1990 to 1996. I mean, I was probably like 10. 96, I was 10. So
okay, let's not talk about. Okay. We're going to have to take a step back.
Drew. Oh, no. You shouldn't have told us.
But I love that you said that. And also, I will tell you that I used to watch, like, Elvira on TV, and she'd be like, "Here's a scary movie," and she was
the-
like, with her
what's the
big nails.
skeleton guy that comes on
Creep show.
Creep show,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah, we
The,
were
the
like
Crypt Keeper,
a
yeah.
little
like the original
bit,
one.
We were a
like
little
when
bit
I stayed home
before.
sick from school, I would watch reruns of the Addams Family and the Munsters.
Yeah, we were like the
And
months.
like my daughter loves the Addams Family, and the new movie's coming out, and so she's like all thrilled about that.
I loved the Munsters.
And I loved both of them, though. I like the Munsters more,
They're
but I
kinda
did like the
funnier.
Addams, the snapping and the hand and it. And,
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
I like the Munsters because they were just like funny and weird, and like they had the daughter that didn't.
Fun fact: they came out like the same time.
I know,
those two
but
shows.
they're really different.
I know they are,
Which
but
is, I mean,
I just
let's
thought it was
all get on that for a
interesting.
minute. I'm just kidding. We don't need it. We don't need to do that. But I love that this was like so present for you because I somehow. But these books, when did they come out?
the 81.
We were like prime for that
Yeah.
era, but for some reason I don't know.
I heard some of these stories retold at camp,
Yeah.
like around the campfire.
Oh.
So, like the Big Toe story,
Uh-huh.
which is like the first story and like one of the first book, I think, about the kid. I think I told you about this one pulling a toe out, and his mom was like, "Ooh, it's a plump and juicy one. Let's throw it in the
So
stew and cook it." And then they eat it,
Disgusting.
and then it's and
And
I feel like
awesome.
all stories like this were around the campfire. They were always like this, like either my aunts or uncles or cousins trying to scare me, and it would be like that situation where it's the thing that you stole, the monster's coming to get it. So like the toe is, they ate it, and it's like, where's my toe? And it's like on the street. And this, where's my toe? It's like closer to the door. Where's my toe? It's like outside his door.
Yeah.
And then just ends. You know what I mean? And like there was another story my aunt used to tell about this monkey eating a banana in a closet, saying, "I'm coming closer. I'm gonna get you." And everybody that like stayed in the hotel room would like commit suicide out the window.
Oh, gosh.
This is like when I was like 8 years old.
What?
And
I've never.
So,
heard
so
this
she would tell
story.
this whole story, and then it would be a big reveal at the end that there's a monkey in the closet saying, "I'm coming closer," peeling the banana one peel at a time. Gonna get you.
So monkeys
Come.
don't talk. So like, let's just
This-
like blow that out of
But
the
that
water.
is just like the Big Toe story, where
Yeah.
it's like this whole the situation where like the fear is there, but like anyways, it's,
well,
it's
and
a
in
weird
the
quirky.
movie, they talk about like they have sort of like almost like a babysitter telling the kids
Yes, yeah.
stories, and that's where you really come to this like familiar
That's why they're super
thing
scary,
where
too.
it's like your babysitter telling you
Yeah.
a scary story,
Right.
Which is like because it's not your parents, they're gonna shield you from that. It's not whoever. It's like a cool like teenager
or- yeah.
like an older cousin or whatever, and they're gonna like tell you the scary stuff. And she's telling the story about the guy with the claw with the hook.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Oh,
my
yeah.
favorite scary story of all time. Like
Yeah.
that's like I mean that's got to be like one of the best.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just like that was like if I was gonna tell a scary story, that's the one I would tell.
Yeah.
I
for
think
sure.
it's one of the most like passed around scary stories because even before I think I realized that it came, or at least it was in one of these books, like I had heard this story.
Heard it already.
Right, I
Yeah.
had already heard it. I mean, the same thing about the guy who finds the stray dog and brings it home and gives it a bath and then finally clips all the hair and gives it a trim, and he realizes it's just a giant rat.
Ew. Oh, see, I need to read these books because I've like missed that.
They're fun. I
one.
got them on Audible, and they're actually really fun to listen to them being read as well. Like that's.
I need
super
to
fun.
do
Is
it.
it-
No, I
is it
feel
the
like
same
I
narrator?
missed it.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, that's cool.
She wants to play us some live clips.
Well,
but
no, I might play them on. Yeah.
I feel like I mean, like for me, like I really wanted to write scary stories when I was a kid because I'd heard a few, like these ones that we've mentioned. And it made me like, and then Ray Bradbury,
Mhm.
like sort of more like the supernatural, like, I don't know, like I loved like Something Wicked This Way Comes. Like, you know what I mean? Like I really love that kind of thing where I'm like, oh, I want to write this. I want to write a scary story about kids in a playground, like something happening to them. You know what I mean? And like, I
Oh, yeah.
really like wanted that. And it's so cool because that inspired me like just as a writer. And I wrote my stories as I got older were they're scary, but maybe in a more political way or they have a different scary bent. But I mean, I think, but you still have that feeling where you're like, oh, that was like, I don't know. More Twilight Zone, maybe.
Mhm.
But anyway. Yeah, no, that's really... I was just trying to find this clip. and it might take like 4 hours.
No, I'm just.
Everybody just wait. Drew, tell us more about anything.
No,
from the
it's. I was
stories that
looking
you
up
like.
who narrates it on the thing because I can't zoom into it.
So we can't see because we're old. And then we also can't. Well, that's pretty much it. I mean, we can do everything else, but
Just can't see.
it's like hard. Okay, so do you have glasses?
I do.
I do also, but I still can't see close up. It's just like a nightmare. I'm so happy that you're younger than us and that you have more time, to lose your eyes. Just kidding. That's so horrible. Drew, I'm so happy that you're a teacher. I wish that you were like my teacher when I was a kid because we
Aw,
would have read
thank
all
you.
these scary stories together and that would have been fun.
Oh, like during the month of October, currently right now, every day I'm trying to go in and just like, I don't know. It's mainly for me. It's not really about the kids. It's about me. So I'm picking like a horror movie soundtrack and I'm playing it every day. And then
Fun.
YouTube is filled with these like horror short movies and short films. So I try to find a couple and I'll play like one or two on a Friday at the end of the week. And so
That's so
some of them are fun and they're short. They're like 2 to like 7 minutes. So if it's like a Friday and we're done and I'm like, cool, we're just going to waste the last 10 minutes of class, guys, like sit down. And some of them are tried and true. Like I've been showing some of them for the past 3 years and there's like each new group hasn't seen it because they're getting
cool.
older. So when we watch them and I know what's coming, I sit and I just salivate at the moment that they're going to jump and scream. So, because it's about me. So
yeah. Well, I mean, it might as well be. You have a captive audience.
So the
go
actor
for it.
that reads on Audible scary stories is George Irving. So a British actor.
All right.
Yeah.
So that's scary right there.
He's
I'm
like
just kidding.
65 years old. I don't know. He's got a great voice. It's really good, actually. Like I would play it for like my kids if it wouldn't keep them up all night bothering me.
well, I mean,
I know.
as long as it's on Audible, people can go start a free trial and get their free download.
Get their free.
Look at us all like,
Yeah.
Hey, Audible.
hello,
Sponsor
Audible.
us.
Sponsor us.
Hey,
All of us
hello.
like to read. We
Yeah.
like to listen.
We like to write.
So show up for us.
We're-
Real feels.
Our eyes are
two
failing.
girls
All
on
of
a
our
bench.
eyes are failing. we need to listen
We
to
don't have
books.
time to
We
like
have to
read a
commute.
book. I gotta like walk around and read
Oh,
something
wait.
in my head.
Talk about Bakersfield because that's
Oh.
Drew's stomping ground.
Hey.
So yes, so
Whirr.
we have our own scary stories, maybe, and then right?
Yes,
you
yeah,
have one,
yeah, I have
Drew,
some-
right?
Yeah.
So
Some local scary stories.
I was telling Drew when we were trying to like figure out our recording for 4 hours.
All right, enough.
That I had just gone to Bakersfield and I'd gone to a few places and I'll let him tell the stories, but I was like, oh, it's like haunted. And he's like, that's my story. So,
No,
okay,
what?
so you tell. I'm so excited to hear your stories because like, I was like, Bakersfield is so cool and it's haunted. So,
And they have a lot of antique stores with knobs, which if you
Right.
listen to our knob episode, you would know that I like a good knob.
yeah, I was like, Trisha, you have to come to there's a lot of antiquing
Yeah.
going on in Bakersfield. Do you know this, Drew? You probably don't care or know about it, but there's a lot
Not
of
if he was 10
antique stores.
in 1996. He does not care about antiques at all. Not even at all. He's like, what's that mean?
In 10 years,
He's
you
like,
will be
are
like,
those jeans from
Shauna
1990?
and Trisha, I get antiquing now.
And we'll be like, Drew, we're so glad you still talk to us.
I enjoy
Okay, anyway.
antiquing.
Okay. But there's so many cool stores. Anyway, go ahead. Tell your story. Sorry.
Oh God. Well, I mean, it's fine. I mean, there's lots of the ideas of, not only with the scary stories to tell in the dark, like you grow up with those, but people like, definitely grow up with their own stories of their hometown. Because what's scarier than being told that, the building that you walk by every day is haunted, or the hotel room that you stayed in last week is haunted. And I mean, there's a bunch of places around town. Like one of the more haunted places is Bakersfield High School, which used to be called Kern High School. And so, I mean, it has quite a few different hauntings around the actual like campus. You have the theater is haunted, which is supposedly which is supposedly haunted by a construction worker that fell from the rafters while installing some lights in Harvey Auditorium. And apparently he not only like fell, but he fell through some of the flooring and died. So you can see
Oh my God,
there's been
that's so
reports of
horrible.
like a ghostly figure up on the catwalk and
Of course.
also in the lower levels. Because if you go into Harvey Auditorium, there's stairways off in the wings that lead downstairs, and downstairs there's a bunch of open classrooms for not only like the lift that can bring you up onto the stage, but there's also dressing rooms down there. So you have this ghostly apparition supposedly of the construction worker who died there. You have a more common sight is the duo of a young man and a teen girl who is in a formal dress, and he is in a Letterman's jacket, and they're often seen at the football field. Usually, always at night, dark. Maybe it's a little bit cloudy or foggy, and they're usually up in the stands. Usually on like the upper right hand corner, where students have said they've even felt like cold spots in this area of the stands.
Let's go. Let's do it. Drew, we're coming to visit.
Yeah.
All
Hey,
right.
I got an extra room and an air up mattress for you.
Yeah.
You're all in a tour of Kern High School. Bakersfield High School. Whatever it's called now. Yeah.
I think one of probably the more literally one of the more haunting aspects of BHS is that the quad now, there used to be a hospital adjacent to BHS. And
no.
when people would die, the quad is where they buried the dead patients.
What?
Oh no!
Right?
When the school
Don't build
was,
shit on a burial ground.
And the
I
school
think
was
the
there?
bodies. I believe the bodies were like,
Did we learn nothing from Poltergeist?
Yeah.
They were removed. Okay.
No burial ground.
But that's that's
Allegedly, they were.
allegedly.
Wait, while the
there's
school
many
was
places.
like going on, they buried bodies there, or that was a previous.
I believe this was before it might have
Before it was
been
a school.
Oh,
the
okay.
established school, or at least they hadn't,
I was like, that's weird.
or at least they hadn't finished building around what is the quad now, because they just keep adding more buildings, and as time was going on. But that's like BHS. You have the Bakersfield Californian, which used to be our newspaper in town, and it actually just recently got bought out. But there's a ghost dog that runs around the building.
What?
Yeah, there's
A good ghost dog.
It's the ghost of a German Shepherd.
Aw.
Yeah,
German shepherds are such good dogs too. They do stick around.
They do.
Yeah.
He used to come to work with his owner,
'Cause
and
they-
so that's where
they
they're
protect.
connecting with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what else? You have so there's a very famous statue in our town where it's called Garces Circle, and it's near. If you were to continue up the road, you would eventually hit Garces Memorial High School, which is like our local private Catholic, high school. And there's a statue of, I forget exactly the name of the guy in the statue. I have some
Old
I have
dead
some
guy.
tabs open with the guy's name. It is Father Garces. Duh, because it's Garces Memorial High School. But so the statue was
Creative.
added in 1939, but people have clearly stated that when they're driving late at night, especially like early in the morning, like 2-3 in the morning, of course the witching hour is going to be upon them. They say that the eyes of the statue will follow them, or
No.
there have been claims that the statue will wave whenever there is a really bad accident that happens.
The police are just like there. They're like, hold on, we're getting a sign. I'm still back at the high school with like the burial.
Potential dead bodies.
I'm sorry. I'm like hospital is like burial and pep rally. I'm sorry. I'm like making a lot of bad jokes in my head right now. I'm sorry. I got stuck on that and I couldn't move on. Okay, keep going. I'm so sorry.
Gosh, what else?
Talk about the Padre, please. Talk about the Padre.
Let me find the notes on the Padre.
So the Padre is this cool old hotel that I went to.
You stayed at, right? Or
I didn't stay there, but I did some stuff there, and I really like the bar there. And that's a side note. But there's like scary stuff that happened. It's like haunted. It's a super old hotel in Bakersfield. It's like
It's cool
this little
looking.
like iconic like cool thing. And so I'm sure you know more about it, Drew. But I'll let you talk about it.
So I mean, there's different ideas that it is haunted by people who used to work at the Padre, especially different people who attributed to its building, where in 2011, some people who were up there when they were like restoring parts of the Padre, they would report that tools would go missing. And so they're thinking that it's possibly one of the ghosts not exactly approving of the Padre being restored, or at least they're changing
they're like,
things.
not on my watch.
But I mean, it was built in 1928, so I mean, definitely things are going to need to be updated. You have different spots in the hotel that are considered to be like hotbeds. Like the 7th floor is considered to be like a real hotbed of activity. And I mean, yeah.
That's where we're going to stay when we go there. Just kidding. I don't know. I'm just making
Shauna has this idea that we're going to go there, although we're not like a paranormal podcast at all. And we're just going to scare the crap out of ourselves and stay in the scariest hotel in Bakersfield.
I told my mom, I was like, I'm in Bakersfield. This hotel's haunted. She's like, you and Trisha need to go record all the horror in that hotel. And I was like, done. And then I was like, I don't even know like why I'm making these promises, but like, yes, we're doing
there
it.
aren't enough weekends in October.
We're already done with October. Yeah.
You should go.
No, but you
should go.
It's super cool. But what's up with the like kids' handprint?
Okay, so
in like the lobby or whatever.
So there's the most prominent like reported ghost sighting is that a little girl who is dressed in 1920s garb.
Nope. Little white girl. That's all we gotta say.
Scary white girls are the worst.
All you gotta say is like ghost children, and people just nope, nope. I'm out.
Nope,
I'm
yeah,
out.
that's it.
I'm out. Is that
I'm
is
there,
that my time? My
and I'm
Uber's
out.
here. Okay, I gotta go.
It doesn't even have to be like a black-eyed kid or one of those things. It's just like a little
ghost children
child,
and freak out. And I don't know
demonic
why,
child.
It's so creepy. But yeah, she
so
supposedly leaves her handprint around the cafe, and despite
the cafe,
despite repeated attempts to make it go away, it's like an irremovable handprint. I mean, even if they paint it over, it reappears.
So we couldn't find it. My friend and I were looking for it when we were there, but I also think that like none of the people that worked there wanted to help us find it because we were like, "Where's the handprint?" They were like,
I'm pretty sure they're tired of like people coming.
It was
down
kind of late at night, and they were like they were like cleaning up the
go
shop,
away.
and they were like, we're gonna go, like we were like, meanwhile, me and my friend were like, oh my god, where is it?
They're like, were you hanging out in that bar?
Yeah, we'd had a couple drinks, but yeah, I was like really excited to see it, but we didn't see it. But that doesn't mean it's not there. We just didn't know where to look. So,
and I mean, it could be popping up in other places. Other people have, you said that it has shown up on like actual doors. So if it's showing up on a door, it's got to be like it's got to be like a dirty handprint. If it's showing up on mirrors, I mean, it's got to be fresh.
This ghost child lives in my house. Oh wait, it's just my own children.
I know. I used to like
One
get
of them
up
just
in the
tried
morning.
to come in the door just now and scared the crap out of me.
Yeah, I'd get up in the morning
real.
and like all the drawers would be open in my kitchen, like in The Sixth Sense, and then I'm like, oh, my son just didn't push them in. I'm like, that's not really that scary. It's
He's
just kind
too
of
lazy
annoying.
to push him in. Teenager. He's all, I can't find food.
I told you that one day. I'm like, I came into my kitchen and all the drawers open. She was like, oh. I'm like, it's just my son didn't push them back in. It's fine. It's like not that scary. But
that would freak me out. Yeah,
I know.
It's like
well,
slightly
you don't have anyone
scary,
else living there.
but there was nobody there with me. It'd be terrifying. But then when you have lazy kids, you're like, they just didn't
My
push
son's
them.
obsessed with pushing drawers back in, so I feel like he should just stay with your son for a while and just follow him around.
Learn the ways.
He is.
He's my kindred. Like, no, there's no drawers left unpushed in. I don't know. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. I just made it
Unpushed
up.
in, or yes.
All right. What other scary stories do you have, Trisha?
I don't have a hometown scary story. I know. Okay.
I'm just kidding. I don't really either.
Drew is witness to the mean faces this one makes
I'm
at me
so mean.
every week.
I'm the mean one.
I like say anything, and she's like, okay, fine.
Your mom made stuff from scratch. And I
Absolutely
love your
precious.
mom. I love your mom. This is actually about your mom.
God.
So-
Yeah, so
and I miss your mom, so I would be like super happy if I saw your mom as a ghost. Because I'd be like, hey, so what's up? Like, 'cause there's some people that you kind of want to see as a ghost, right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, that would be comforting. You know what I mean?
So-
And there's some people that's scary, and you're like, no.
Coincidentally, my mom's been gone for 5 years today, and I know it sounds sad, but it's okay. I mean, mostly. But so when we first moved to this house, my TV started turning on in the middle of the night, like around 4 a.m.
Nope.
Really super loud, and like I'll stay up till like midnight or 1, like
You're a night
binging
owl.
something. Yeah. But I typically I'll do like a pattern of things. You know how you have your set things you do at night, like you like go to sleep on the Apple TV, and I usually turn the volume down to like 2 or 3, like because I just do that so that when the next person turns the TV on, it's not like at 24 or something crazy, right? So I know I do that because I do it every time I watch TV. So it was on like a sports channel the first time, and I thought my kids got up at like 4 a.m. and started watching TV, and I was mad because I was like ran out to the living room, and I was like, turn that off, and there was no one in the living room, and I was like, there's only one TV in our house. It's in like our living room. There's no TV in our bedroom. So then it happened again, and it was like a dental commercial. And I was like in the process of scheduling dental appointments for the whole family. And I was like, maybe my mom's like trying to remind me to like take care of my teeth. I don't know. They kind of laughed about it. And I was like, okay, whatever.
That's definitely what she would do. She'd
Right?
be like, you need to like
Get on that plaque.
She's like,
okay?
it's been like
no
6
more red
months.
wine. Okay. So then she's like,
Teeth whining.
so then
Whoa.
nothing happened for a few weeks until there was a one night, it was about a year ago, I was watching random TV till like 11:30. I was like dozing off. I turned down the volume, turned it off, and went to bed. And about 4 a.m. again, the TV turned on, and
It wasn't 3.
No, it was about 4.
Okay. Because 3 is the
And
witching hour. I'm very
that's why I
scared of
thought it
that
was my
time.
kids, because they will like accidentally get up at 4 and think it's like time to party on a Saturday. And I'm like, okay, we got to sleep in at least till 7:30, guys.
Just 'cause
Like,
they're little.
they're little, and that happened. So yeah, I was like, okay. So I thought my husband, who is a musician, was like playing music loudly while he was playing some sort of Star Wars video game, which he tends to do till like 2 a.m. Like he's obsessed with it. So I was like, he's fucking turned that shit up. He's listening to music like too loud, or he doesn't realize it. And like I turn over and he's in bed asleep, like totally asleep. And I was like, okay, he's asleep. So I went out to the family room. This time I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay attention, because like I couldn't really remember like what was on the first time, and then the dentist thing. I was like, hey, so there's a song playing, and there's credits rolling of a movie, and so I put on like the info, and it's a movie called 5 Flights Up, which I've never heard of, and it's some kind of romantic comedy that like just went nowhere, and but the song playing.
Your mom is like, this is a great film.
It could be
very underappreciated.
It could be. It's like an old. It's like an older couple. I can't even remember who's in it. It's like because I watched part of it.
She's like, I love
It's
this
like an
actress.
older couple, like late in life, where they like don't have their same spouse anymore, falling in love again, which is something my mom would have loved. Let's just put it out
that
there.
would be like her story.
So it was a Van Morrison song playing, and like my family loved Van Morrison. Like I grew up with. Sorry, Drew, records, which are these round things that we would listen to.
And they
Just
spin
brought home some
around.
vinyl this weekend.
Okay.
Okay, you're
So
cool.
young people are bringing vinyl back. So good for you.
Good for you.
So in that
Okay.
movie, it's Morgan Freeman and Diane Keaton.
Morgan Freeman, yeah, and they're falling in love, and they're like,
Is
wait-
it?
Yeah,
Wait, he like knows the movie.
he's like
Well, I
dying,
mean-
I think, or something, or he's getting
Oh.
Morgan Freeman. He like
I looked
Googled
it
it
up.
or whatever. IMDb.
It's all old movie with
It was.
people.
It is. It's Diane Keaton, who I love, and Morgan Freeman. They're like an older couple. Their dog is dying.
Oh my god, they're the best.
They're not
too.
like.
I love them.
Actually, I'm wrong. They're not like refinding love. They're like this longevity couple that like is having to like downsize their house or something. And anyways, Van Morrison's singing, and this is a song, Have I Told You Lately That I Love You?
Oh.
And I was like, Mom. And then I turned the TV off and went to bed. But I'm pretty sure that was my mom. And
it was 100%.
I
your
emailed
mom.
our friend Sherry, who was on our show like a while ago,
She's
who's
a
like a
psychic.
medium. And I was like, do you think my mom's turning, and this was before this happened. I was like, do you think my mom's turning my TV on and off? And she was like, abso-fucking-tootly. She is like...
So we have a friend that's a medium, and so she tells us stuff, which is like really cool because we will go.
I'll put her name in the show notes.
We will go to her, and like we did some interviews with her in the past on our show, and she's been our friend for like a really long time, and she will like bring stuff up and say things, and I know people will like discount this or whatever, but like she will really bring stuff up that's like super real. I mean, she will literally say things that she's never met Trisha's mom. Doesn't know anything about her. And will be like, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that is 100% your mom talking. She just never met this person. This is exactly something she would say. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah.
So I will tell my scary story, which is
mine's sweet. It's not scary,
it's not,
really.
I mean, it's like ghostly.
It's ghostly.
But like nice.
But like that's, I feel like that's the most ghost I've had besides like some weird sort of night, not night terror, but like paralyzed dreams, things where you can't move.
Well, that's just alien abduction.
Yeah, I think that was
different
aliens.
thing. Okay. We'll get into. Is there an alien abduction month? Because I'm like in for that.
We should
I'm
start
sure there
that.
has to be.
There's guys. It's like
International
November.
Alien
I don't know.
Abduction
Okay.
Day.
I'm in for that. So I don't have a personal. I mean, okay. I'm just gonna be really transparent. So, okay, good. So, I don't have like a lot of personal stories except that I can be a little sensitive to stuff, and so I take a lot of pills now so that I don't have to see these things or hear these things. But I used to, like, when I would fall asleep, I could sort of like hear like talking and like weird stuff, and it used to freak me out.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I hear it every night.
It's
no.
terrifying,
It's
and so
unnerving.
so then I wouldn't sleep. If I went to like a hotel, I couldn't sleep because I'd hear things. I'd keep lights on. I would do all sorts of weird things. And I take a bunch of like pharmaceuticals for various reasons. They're all legal. And no, but once I started taking them, I talked to our friend that's the psychic medium, and she said, well, once you start taking those things, it kind of blocks your ability to see or to hear. And I was like, oh, that's okay. Because I really don't want to like,
I'm okay with
because I
this.
would lay awake at night and be like terrified. I mean, because it was almost like I could
Did the voices
feel-
sound like this? Like
Sometimes they're just like muted talking.
yeah.
And I was like, and it was almost like I could feel something near me. And I would be like laying in my bed, and I'm not alone because like I'm married. My husband's laying next. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're alone or with someone.
Mhm.
It's still super scary,
Yeah.
which is weird because I always like, I think as a young person or something, I was like, oh, once like someone's there with me, I won't be scared. No, it's still scary when somebody's
When I was a
next to you.
kid, and
it's
then-
always scary.
When I
like-
used to take naps when I was a kid, like little, I used to hear things like that, and I used to be
It's-
scared.
So you heard them too, Drew? What-
I hear something like every single night, and I always like shut my bedroom door and I'll lock it. And this is mainly because like in the past like 3 years, like I've been robbed twice, so I'm always like,
right.
Oh,
sucks.
screw
yeah.
this, like I'm shutting my door. And
Yeah.
Oh, you're good for that. Yeah.
so
I'm sorry that happened.
I'll shut the door and like I'll crawl into bed, I'll get comfy, and I don't know what it is. Like the second that I'm getting comfy, I swear I hear something in the other room, not like in the room with me, but it's like in the other room, and it almost sounds like people are talking. Or I think like, did I leave? There's no way I left the TV on.
Of the TV on.
I'm like,
yeah.
no way I left the TV on.
Yeah.
But then
If
I'm
it's
thinking,
the TV tonight, it's my mom saying
right,
hi.
right. I mean, I
She
distinctly
knows
hear
you,
something.
Drew. She's very friendly.
She'd be like,
She'll
she'd be like,
bake you a
Drew.
cake
She'd
or
be
like
like
some
this.
cookies.
She'd be like, Drew's such a nice boy.
She's like, Drew, I think you like chocolate chip cookies, and I'm gonna leave you some. And you're like, thanks. That was like a good
That'd be
ghost.
badass if my mom would bake
I know.
me
I'm like,
cookies.
can you please make us some cookies? It'd be so amazing.
Just have breakfast
Fried
ready in the morning, and
Fried chicken.
the laundry
Your
has been
mom,
done.
your mom killed some fried chicken.
She
Let me
did.
tell you, we could do that. No, but I think that like I would have that, or actually, I just remembered a personal story.
Okay.
So I'll tell that. I was going to tell a story about my husband. So my husband's family comes from Mexico. We won't even talk
They're
about
so
ad
haunted.
infinitum how many scary stories there are from there. But I will talk about my Mexican family. So my grandma, so I have one Mexican grandma and one like Caucasian grandma, and they're both passed away. I was having a dream and they were both there.
I remember this.
And then, which is weird, right? Like, I mean, like, not like they were ever I mean, they met each other and
Yeah,
stuff, but it
but
was
they
just
weren't
like
really-
a very odd thing for them to be together. And I could hear my grandma had a very distinctive laugh. And so I heard her laugh. And then my husband had a brother that was stillborn. And that voice came through and said, "Tell Edgar I say hello."
Ooh.
And it was with both my grandmothers, which was weird. It was like either side of them. I didn't see the other entity. Well, no, none of us would because it was
you
a
never
stillborn.
saw
It was
him,
like a
yeah.
spirit. And I woke up and I was just like, it was so real. I was like, oh my God, I feel like these people just talked to me. Like literally it was like in my head. And then I told our friend, the psychic medium, that, and she said, well, that's how he could come through, was by showing you people that you knew.
So you could hear him.
So that you could, so that you would trust it too.
Open,
Because
yeah.
you're like, oh, it's your grandmother's. Like you trust them and you know them. And then this other voice comes through. Anyway, that's the trippiest thing so far.
Yeah.
Once I stop taking pills again when I'm old, I might hear more things. Hello, everybody, pharmaceutical companies. Maybe we should get sponsorships from them.
We're like,
Hello,
Zoloft, please sponsor
Xanax.
us. Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Oh my God.
Two Girls on a Bench, brought to you by Lunesta.
I know.
Yeah, no, seriously. Or like any wine company ever. Yeah.
Hey, we found bench wine, literally.
Ooh.
Like
Yeah, they
bench-
literally,
yeah. And
we
have,
need
like,
to
a
just like
bottle of
write
it.
them a
Yeah.
big letter. Yeah,
We
for
should.
sure.
They're called bench.
Do you have any like personal, aside from like the scary shit that you just described, or like?
So I'll share like a scary one from my childhood, and I'll kind of round it off with a nice, kind of like a feel good ghost story. I
yay.
distinctly remember, and of course people will claim like your stories being, oh, you were dreaming, or
Of
this
course.
isn't how you quite remember it. I vividly
discount
remember waking up in my bedroom, and my door looked into our hallway that if you walk down it, you would hit my brother's room to the right, the bathroom was on the left, and at the end of the hall is my parents' bedroom. And I remember seeing this shadowy figure like staring into my bedroom, and I just was terrified. And so I just like obviously like frozen, kept staring, and then it turned around and was heading down the hallway. And I remember getting out of bed, and I think I might have been like 8 or 9. And I remember getting out of bed and like going to my door and like looking down the hall, and it was going for my parents' bedroom, and I just yelled, "Hey!" And it turned around and then just gone.
Oh my God.
So I mean,
Oh my
I remember
God.
that like clear as day, right as rain.
Did you tell your parents?
I did. Well, I know my dad got up and he's like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "There was something here."
You're like ghost right here.
Right, and he was just like, "Go to bed, like you
No.
have school in the morning." So
Yeah, I'd be so annoyed if my kids came down and was like,
You're like,
"There's
there's
a
no
ghost."
ghost. Go to bed.
Yeah.
And then you're like, there's probably.
And then I'm like, "Oh, I should probably think about it
And then
more."
we're like, later, we're like, oh, it's probably a ghost. But I'm so tired, I can't
I
deal
can't
with
do
it.
it. Go to bed.
Oh my God, Drew, you saw a ghost.
Yeah,
um,
you were so brave. Though.
with a happier story. So I used to be on the board of directors for the Bakersfield Community Theater, and I was in charge
Aw.
of in charge of the youth theater for about 8 years.
Of course you were.
And
You're like
Good man.
I know.
so
We already liked you, but
One
now we
day
like
we'll
you
tell
more.
you our youth theater from a lifetime
We'll
ago.
bring our show to you. We'll talk about it later.
Good.
Okay.
But we, in the past, they did a production of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, or at least the Rocky Horror Show, because that's the stage version.
Aw.
And there was
Right.
a guy named, I want to say Kevin, if I'm remembering it correctly, his name was Kevin. But
Kevin!
he was playing the role of Frankenfurter. And what was terrible is I believe he had a heart attack during the production.
No.
And it was like the last show too. So the show had to stop, and he was rushed to the
Nope.
hospital, and he died.
No way.
So what's weird is that while I was
No.
there for a couple of years, whenever we would bring up, Rocky Horror, or we would bring up the idea of like, hey, we should probably like, redo this production. And we had a general rule where we would wait 7 years in order to do
in between shows.
another like a revamp of it. And so every time we said Frankenfurter, the lights would flicker.
No.
And we
oh my
we would
God, that
always
poor
just
kid.
look around. We're all like,
I
it's,
can't
it's
even
okay,
deal with
Kevin.
it.
Kevin, we're gonna do it again. You get to take your final bow. It's all right.
Oh my God.
Oh my
and
God.
like without fail, like I mean, it didn't happen like every single time, but like 6 out of like 10 times you would say Frankenfurter, the lights would flicker.
No, that's not normal.
So-
That's
Yeah.
not
So
okay.
it's
I mean,
kinda funny.
in a good
And
way.
As like a running joke, if the lights would flicker at any other time, we would just look around and go like, Kevin, stop.
Oh, he was there. No, let me just tell you. Okay, this is super old. You might not even know it, Trisha.
Because I'm the
You
young
won't
one.
know, Drew, or maybe you will. I don't know. YouTube,
not.
the
I'm the
world
I'm
is
the
a
older
different
one.
We'll
place.
see.
There used to be this show called Fame.
Yeah.
The old Fame. From when
You
like,
got big dreams.
yeah,
You want fame.
So there was a episode where there was a girl. It was like what you're talking about, where there was a girl in the theater that had died, and then she sort of like was trying to sort of relive her like big moment or her big scene or whatever, and like the chick that was like the main chick whose name I can't remember right now. She would like look in the mirror and like her eyes were a different color, and she was basically being like possessed by this girl that wanted to sort of like get her show. Basically,
Oh,
it was like
gosh.
I gotta live out my big show that I didn't get to do, which is kind of what you're talking about, right?
Mhm.
It's like we were gonna do the show. Frankenfurter is like such a huge character, and in this thing it was the same thing. And there was a moment where she was like singing a song sort of like in a mirror, and it was like, oh, she's like embodying this person to like live out the last show. And I feel like that's so what theater's like though. I mean, somebody would like die like with that dream, I think, and it's
Oh,
so
yeah.
powerful that it would live on for a while.
Well, I mean, in a theater is a place where so much energy and life just
So
goes
much.
into it. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
for
every show is a birth
Right.
and a death, essentially.
Yes.
Like, because it happens. It's its own thing. It never can be repeated, which is the magic of live theater. Even on Broadway or whatever, it's like, even with high budget, low budget, whatever, it never is the same, and that's the beauty of it. And that's why we fall in love with it. And then it's addictive in this weird way, because then it's the high ends, it's over, and then it's like, I can't wait to do it all over again.
Yeah.
And
you're
build
like
a new
depressed
family.
or like it's over.
It
like,
is.
So now there's just nothing.
No, so then you dive into the next one,
Yeah.
and then I
Exactly.
can see if you died before you got to finish your final bow or whatever,
I can't even imagine.
you wouldn't be able to move on. You'd be
Or
like,
he died. What was it? He died on like the opening. You said,
I
or
believe,
before it opened.
if I know the story correctly, it was the last performance, and he had a heart attack.
Oh, the last.
And he was,
Okay.
he was took to the hospital where he died, but he never got to like, take that final bow.
Poor kid though. Like also like life cut too short. I mean, that is just like there's so many things about that are like.
yeah, you said it was
visceral.
youth theater. How old was he? Was it like,
Um,
Probably like a
20?
high school student.
no, I
Shouldn't
don't.
have had a heart
I don't think it was.
attack.
I don't believe it was a high school student. I'm not 100% sure
I was
as
just
to
kidding.
you know
He was, like,
how old he
45.
was. He wasn't. I mean, he wasn't that old. It's okay. So I mean, just random tangent, but focusing still on the same thing. The last time that BCT did its production of Rocky Horror, it was fantastic, and there was a fantastic man named Maceo Davis who played Frankenfurter, and he did it so super well. So I don't know if that was the last production he did. I don't think it was, but like Maceo also passed away. And
What?
and
Haunted Frankenfurter.
I mean, I don't know if it's like a
Okay.
haunted role. I mean, I don't want to like
No.
I don't want to put that, that darkness out there, but I mean,
Do
it's
not play
too-
Frankenfurter
it's
in
too
Bakersfield.
coincidental
Okay.
for something
Done.
like
That is weird. Yeah, that's odd.
I have cursed Rocky Horror in Bakersfield. I'm just kidding. Amal, you can be everything except Frankenfurter. Like a really good
And you know what it
ticker.
is? It's only
Yeah.
the stage version too, because it's not like you're doing like
A
a shadow
cast
cast.
or-
I was
yeah.
a member of a shadow cast for 9 years, so
I know.
What did you play?
I was the criminologist, and I also did all of the audience like shout outs. So I was
Oh.
like the audience
That's like
callback
so
guy.
fun.
Yeah.
It was a hoot and a half. I eventually had to
I
stop.
want to go with
Oh.
you to Rocky Horror so you can teach us all the stuff to say.
I
'cause
would
That's so
I would love to
fun.
do that, or just we can all sit down and I'll just do them for you, like in the comfort of a living room. But yeah, I eventually had to stop doing it.
Next year, all the horror. You
Rocky
lead the Rocky
Horror.
Horror
Nice.
shout
You know
outs.
what?
Watch party.
Let it be known. I will gladly do that.
Oh, watch party. We should totally.
That would
oh
be
my god,
so
that'd
fun.
be so
Do
fun.
a watch
Let's
party.
do
That'd
it.
be great. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that if something is actually syncing up right for the callbacks to be timed appropriately. So I don't know if that. I mean, hopefully that would work out.
Mhm.
That'd be really neat. I would have to warn everyone now. Like, you will be offended.
Of course, but that you want that.
Yeah.
I mean, you really want that. With
Yeah.
Rocky
No,
Horror.
that
We've
would
got
be
some
fun.
our own stories. We won't show them right now because they'll get way too long.
Well, we have a friend who actually she started out as Janet and then she ended up as Frankenfurter and then she directs the cast of both
yeah.
Hedwig and
Yeah.
Rocky down in like Santa Monica. Like she's amazing.
What's the
so-
what's the
was-
cast?
It was the New Art Theater was where she was originally.
Okay.
When she was in a show that we did, and then she was like, "Oh, by the
I'm
way,
Janet."
I'm Janet."
Yeah.
We're like, "What?" And then
Yeah.
we like went to see her, and it was super fun. And then she just kept going.
And then
with
she
it.
became Rocky eventually. Like
She was
I'm
doing
not
Rock-
Rocky. I'm sorry, Frankenfurter.
Frankenfurter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Not
Rocky.
Rocky.
I don't think a woman could play Rocky. I don't know, but she played
Maybe.
Frankenfurter.
She
yeah.
could probably do it. But yeah, it was fun. Let's all do it, okay, everybody?
Let it be known.
Rocky Horror in Bakersfield with Drew. Next week. I'm just kidding.
All right,
I have
2 weeks.
Nothing done.
2 weeks.
Okay.
Drew, get ready, Drew.
It's all on you, Drew. You're like, oh my God, what's
I
happening?
got an empty living room. DVD is ready. Couches are here.
People are just showing up. That you're like, oh my God, it's like the area 54 or like whatever. You're like, this is not Roswell. We're not doing that.
He's all there's a bunch of old ladies in my living room. It's the scariest thing that's ever happened to me.
Stop coming to my house. He's like, the two girls on a bench said it was okay. Like, 2 old ladies on a bench. I don't know. Drew, you're amazing.
Aw, thank
We
you.
love talking to you every year. It's so fun. We should talk to you like more than once a year, but
I
yeah.
think the
We
last
talked to
last
him
time we
at
did talk
Epic.
was was it
Live
New
stream.
Year's? I think it might have been New Year's.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
well, on
that's
live
true.
stream.
Yeah, on live
right?
stream,
That
but I
was
mean-
Live
yeah.
stream. Oh yes, you were a champ on live stream.
Yeah, I owe
That's
you a
right.
present.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Trisha needs to send you something.
Yeah.
She's in charge of everything, and I just sit here and drink wine. She's such a good girl, this Trisha over here. She's in charge of everything, and she has 2 small children. I'm just showing up for the prizes. Okay.
Oh.
So anyway, yeah, thank you, Drew. That was so fun. Okay, we're gonna come to Bakersfield and hang out with you.
Yeah.
Like 100%. Like I'm not even
Let's do it.
joking. We're gonna go stay in the Padre. Like we're gonna see the handprint. We're gonna get spooked out, and then we're gonna come hang out with you, and like go to the theater
Love it.
and see Frankenfurter. I don't know what's gonna happen, but we're gonna do all of
It's
it.
going to be a crazy, wild
No,
adventure.
I was texting Trisha when I was in Bakersfield. I was like, "We're gonna come here. We're gonna stay in the Padre. It's scary."
Drew, she was just there last week, and I'm like, you should just go over to Drew's
And
house
she's
and
like,
be like,
just go to
hi.
his house. And I was like, I'm working
You
though.
should've
Like, I'm kind of
messaged me.
busy. I know, but I was like kind of busy. And then I was like, okay, so we're just going to go and like antique during
Kinda
the day. We're going to write for like 5 seconds. And then we're going to like go like around town with Drew and just like check out the scary shit. Yeah, for sure.
That sounds good.
Awesome.
Done.
I'll
We're
bring
there.
my Zoom.
It might be like November though. We're all Christmas trip. He's like, it's not that scary.
People, I mean, ghost stories, Dickens, that was a ghost story. Christmas, it's all good, right?
I don't think the ghosts care what time of year it is as long as they get their
don't.
spooks.
They really need to get attention. They're very, very like
Needy.
drama queens
Yeah.
like that.
I
Okay.
hear they're dying for it.
Ah, so good. Thank you.
That was like the worst.
But I don't know what you did right now. You're like doing like a. You're doing like a pistol thing, which is not a thing.
It's like your handguns are dyslexic. What is that?
I don't know how to. I can't even make a
Drew,
handgun.
you're a champ. Last year it was Fluffernutter.
Fluffer
This
Nutter.
year-
Yep.
Remember the
Yep,
Fluffernutter?
I do.
This year it's Trisha's handgun.
Fluffer Nutter and
Okay,
like the
forget.
scary little treats that you show me.
Oh yeah, we don't have any scary. Okay, all we have this year for a scary treat. It's not scary though.
It's not that scary. It's just a weird challenge that Eminem gave us.
We've been trying to get
Try
every
all of it.
M&M like weird
Flavor. We tried
they-
the jalapeno ones. Don't
They
eat
come out with
those.
all these weird international ones, and this is a toffee one, which is apparently British.
That's what you told me it was British. Remember, I was
No,
like,
but
"Where's
look,
it
he's
from?"
got like a little.
Oh,
British
he's super
flag on it.
British. Yeah.
They're a toffee, so we've tried
It's
them
like
all.
the Eminem James Corden.
There's one that's like kind of like
You're supposed to vote
Caribbean
or something.
I don't know.
I'm
Anyway,
not that impressed with these. I thought they'd be better.
they're alright, but they're not that good. So yay,
Dan.
M&M's, just kidding, sponsor us. But yeah, we've tried them all.
Right.
That was our big snack for the day. Super like disappointing. I was still back to the picnic. I don't know where they went. Over there. Crispy French fries, delicious. Drew's drinking wine with us. He's totally fine. He's on board.
All right. I don't think I've ever known a teacher not to drink wine.
You're the best, and we wish you were a teacher.
It should be like a requirement.
It
Yeah.
seems like it's part of the
I
job
mean,
description. Like
there's those jokes
wine
where they show like back
drinker.
to school memes, and it's like teachers or like school supplies is also next to the bottles of wine, and it's. I don't even think it should be a joke. I think that should be every.
You're like, that's
display.
not funny.
they're
Yeah.
like Elmer's glue, hole punched, this ruled paper, whatever.
And then they're like,
wine.
you
Right.
know,
There's all box
Got
of
to
wine.
know.
Like Teacher
Niagara.
Appreciation
Yeah.
Week rolls around, and they're like, "Mr. Hallum, I want to give you a mug," and I'm like, "No, I don't.
Give me
I have
wine.
I have enough mugs, but I can't like tell the kid
Just a
if you could get me a nice
bottle of
red
wine."
Merlot, that would be fantastic.
You're like, just like a Bevmo gift
You're
card.
right.
You
That's
know?
all I need. That's all I need because I'm not.
Mr. Drew
Can't tell
needs
the kid
Trader
if you could
Joe's
get me
gift
a 20-year-old
cards.
Scotch. That would be fantastic.
Little McAllen's, whatever.
Oh my god, that would be so funny because you know how they're always like teachers are like,
Yeah, they send out the room
Like-
parent. Do you have a room parent or a room mom or a room whatever?
No, not
No?
for
no,
high school.
what do you teach
Oh,
in high
not
school?
high
So
school.
then they're like wish list,
They're
right?
like-
Because I'm into that realm now, and they're like, you know, Lysol wipes or like whatever, and you're like Bevmo gift card done.
There are teachers
And
on
everybody's
campus
like,
that, like, on back to
yes.
school night, they'll like, introduce what the year is going to be like to the parents, and then I know of one teacher who presents to the parents and say, "Hey, if you would like to help out the classroom, I need like highlighters, maybe some extra paper. If you want to
they
help
totally
out,
do
this
that
would
at
be
my
cool."
kid's school.
I would not be comfortable like talking to parents and saying, "Hey, do you want to know what else you
Aw.
could do?" And
No,
take a
you
load
know
off my
what,
back.
though?
Some
Let
wine.
me tell you though, my daughter's school did this, and it was just more like the teacher was like, "Hey, we're going to read The Giver as a novel. There's a graphic novel,
Mhm.
and I'd love to have a couple copies in the classroom for kids to look at."
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm on board with that because I can buy you like one book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so
She
for
did that
me,
one
it,
time
like,
too. She actually said, "I want to teach, this particular book, but I don't have.
I can't afford
don't
it.
have it.
Yeah.
exactly.
If you guys would like to, purchase a copy for, the classroom, you can
classroom.
also use it as a tax write-off. You can make it a donation, and that's how
Yeah,
she actually
I
got
just-
one particular novel. She got a class set up. And it's actually funny that you mentioned The
Wow.
Giver. I'm actually starting that with my seniors this week.
Oh my God. Do the graphic. So I started reading the graphic novel with my daughter last night. So I bought one for her and one for the classroom. I was like, give it to your teacher. She asked about it. You know, we had like back to school night, and then we were reading it last night. I was like, oh, because I'd seen we've seen the movie, so we kind of like blew our wad on that one. But like, at least we were like looking at it through the book's eyes, which is really different. It's much more detailed. And so, yeah, it was kind of cool.
I don't think you should be afraid to ask, though.
Ask them for everything
you give so much.
and the BevMo card.
Yeah.
Because let me just
Or
tell
just do a Trader Joe's card, and then it sounds like you're getting groceries.
Oh, yeah, Trader Joe's.
And you can use it on wine. And
I
there
was
you
like,
go.
I would respect you so much if you were my kid's teacher and you're like, and or Trader Joe's BevMo card. I would be like, I know what to get you for the holidays.
I would
And I'd be like,
immediately get you one.
Yeah, 100%. Ask for it. You deserve it.
I've done that for my
being a teacher's hard.
For my
need
preschool
that.
teachers for Teacher Appreciation Week. I'll do Trader Joe's.
Oh gosh,
just like a
elementary
couple,
school
like,
teachers all the time.
$10.
All the time. I would.
Yeah.
My very first day of subbing, period, any grade at all. I had 3 days of kindergarten, and luckily,
Aww.
like the aides, or this was weird. It was like a kindergarten class that was divided between 2 other teachers, but I had like my own little group of kids. And after those 3 days, like I was leaving, and the teacher who I was subbing for came in so she could help like prep for the next week. And I just looked at all of them and I said, I don't know how you ladies do it, but if you want, like, I will buy you a drink, all of you.
Yeah.
And it was just, I mean, it's not even like it was hard because it's kindergarten, but it was like, it was more
energy.
emotionally,
No, that's hard.
It was emotionally draining.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's hard.
No, I have a 4-year-old. It's hard, Drew.
Let's
it is
just
always
admit it's
difficult.
all hard.
Yeah.
Children are
It's
just,
all hard all the time.
all right. So,
Going back to the 6th grade
Drew.
boy.
Yeah.
thank you so much for being with us and talking about this cool stuff and telling us about this cool documentary that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
Because I didn't know about it, and I missed the books because I don't know. I must have lived in a sheltered community.
I feel like they banned him where I lived because I lived in like the Midwest. I'm not going to say where. And maybe they were banned from our library.
Why can't you say where?
Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and Missouri. I don't know. I mean, that was the 80s for me.
Possibly any of those places.
Possibly any of those
Satanic
places.
panic was going on when we were kids.
ACDC.
Let me just tell you, we couldn't read anything. So, I mean,
Couldn't
God
read
bless
ghost stories. Couldn't play D&D. It was a bad time.
God bless Catcher
Yeah.
in the Rye finally got it. So let's just say that we appreciate you as a teacher, and thank you so
Aw,
much
thank
for
you.
telling us about this super cool documentary.
Yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to watching the movie a little bit, like when I can rent it, not buy it.
Yeah, no, I want to see it too because I'm like, now I'm super curious.
Coming out on
about
October
how-
22nd.
Okay, everybody, October 22nd. Thank you, Drew. Do you want to give any plugs or love to your stuff and do it because it's all the horror? Hashtag all the horror.
Oh gosh, I mean, I don't know. I don't know when this. Is this just coming out tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
It's coming out immediately as we
tomorrow.
talk.
In
I was trying to think because I
6
mean,
It's actually a live broadcast. But
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if it's yeah, I'm not sure exactly when it's gonna be coming out, but I'll be on IMDb Journey podcast, and
Cool.
we'll be discussing
Ooh.
horror movies and doing horror trivia. So
Fun.
there's that. That's a lot of fun, and I mean,
Very
That
my
sounds
my podcast
exciting.
in particular is not participating directly with all the horror, but I've been running the villains tournament for
Yes,
the Twitter.
on
So that's
Twitter.
a lot of fun. That's kind of winding up and down, and
It's been fun.
we have our own kind of horror genres on our show that are happening. This Wednesday, we'll be bringing out our episode on 1992's Brain Dead, or Dead Alive, as it's also known, directed by Peter Jackson.
Yes.
And then I have my own genre in 2 weeks for zombie. So it's my zombie genre will be happening. Zombie. But yeah.
Well, I have
let me
to say,
just
I'm
tell
horrible
you-
at guessing the Drew's clues that Drew puts out about what his episodes are about on Twitter. Just horrible. I mean, I'll guess like 3 times and still not get it.
Luckily, some of those are mine. Each host is supposed to be giving their own clues. So
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
It's super fun. I love it. Go ahead. Sorry.
I forgot.
You
what
forgot
I was
because
gonna
I
say.
talked. Well, you're a loser.
I was like, I have a thing, and then I was like, nope, forgot it. Sorry.
Sorry.
It's never coming back. I'm sorry. Just keep going. Tomorrow I will text you, Drew, with what I was gonna say.
That sounds good.
It's weird.
You know, it's
you guys
weird.
text each other?
Yeah, I don't know. We're gonna start now.
We're gonna start it now.
Group text with everybody listening. Just kidding. What's that? Okay. Hey, this is Two Girls on a Bench podcast.
Sorry, I'm gonna button it up with some of Sean's. You don't know because you're not on Twitter, but some of Sean's music and all the horror promo.
Wow.
And did you do all the horror promo, Drew, or no?
I did not. I didn't feel like it would be
You were not
appropriate because we're
part
not
of it.
necessarily participating in it. I'm just I'm
all
like a
good.
background person.
You were not
No.
ever a background. You were never in the corner. You never carried a watermelon like baby in
When
the corner.
Shauna drinks wine, she gets really in love with
No,
everything.
everybody's fine. I know it's bad right now, and I'm like, I love Bakersfield. I'm just getting very I'm gonna kick up my leg. It's gonna be bad.
I'm almost 50.
Everybody's gonna meet us in Bakersfield for some sort of thing that I'm gonna plan.
Well, I mean,
Unknowingly, I'm gonna forget that I
Chris is starting his new show. I think it came out today or
You missed this
yesterday.
flash mob. Where
Today.
were you?
We're gonna convene, and it's gonna be a thing. Have you been to Mama Roomba's? Okay, total side note. Drew,
Yes.
have you been there?
Mama Roombas?
It's such a good
I
restaurant.
can't
What
say
is
that I
it?
have.
Oh, go there tomorrow. It's so good. Just go do it. Sangria,
Do it tomorrow.
kill it, shrimp.
I almost snorted
empanadas.
wine out of my nose.
But it's so good. I don't even know why that's funny, but it's so
You're
good.
just go there tomorrow.
And you will love it.
I'm gonna be like Shauna when she's drinking wine.
Here's what happens. After a long weekend in Bakersfield,
People
I came
know.
straight here and did the podcast. Okay. Thank you so much, Drew. You're such a
Yeah, we're gonna skip the
Great.
writing prompt and just
no. We'll just
call it a day.
Yeah, that's it. We got a lot of good stuff.
We
here.
talked for an hour. That's good.
Great, fun stories. Thank you so much, Drew.
Yeah.
I can't wait to come to that theater and see the Scary Frankenfurter.
Oh, it'll be fun. Seriously, we need to.
No, there
plan
needs
some
to be
stuff.
an all Bakersfield conference or something that's just us.
I think so too because you can come to Bakersfield.
I don't
you
wanna
can
really-
you can see me. You can see Chris.
Yeah, we're not gonna really coordinate a big. It'll just be us.
It'll be
It'll be like
big
the
enough.
the four of us.
It'll be the four of us at a restaurant. We're that was fun. Mama
don't like
Roomba's.
people that
Meet you
much.
there.
We can get
Empanadas.
Justin Winters to come
Done.
up from LA.
There you go.
It'll be fun. All right, you're the best, Drew. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
for being our buddy, and we love talking to you
Yeah.
and talking about scary stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, and thank you for not canceling like everybody else who planned to do this
no,
one.
no, never.
You're our favorite.
Yeah. you win.
I win.
You are the best.
Maybe some swag from live stream for the
Yeah,
cure.
you're gonna get swag that you'll never get. Good luck with that one. Oh my god.
It's gonna be Christmas, and I'm gonna be like,
We're the yeah, you're it's my Christmas present.
it's gonna be live stream for the
/holiday
cure
Hanukkah present.
May 2020, and I'm gonna be like, you get 2 bags of swag if you donated last year and this year.
It's some leftover snacks.
That's what you should do. You
Yeah.
should hold on to the swag and go. And everyone who donated last year, if you donate twice as much this year,
Double.
you can actually get your stuff.
You can get your
We're
swag
holding it
finally.
hostage.
Get it out of Hawk. You're yeah. It's pond.
That's awesome.
Drew,
All
you're
right.
great.
Aw,
thank
thank
you
you.
so much.
You ladies are
We
great.
love talking to you. And everybody keep writing.
Oh, keep snacking.
Keep watching movies, whatever you say at the end of yours, Drew.
Oh, we always say you're the realist and the feelist.
You're the realist, feelist.
Ah.
Yeah.
There you go. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Okay, bye. I forgot to say bye earlier. Okay, bye.
Yours, goodbye.
No, I didn't say bye.
I think you said I already said bye earlier. And I was
Yours, bye.
like,
was a podcast from the Podfix Network. You can check out more shows like it at podfixnetwork.com.